An AI, technically, someone could sound like they know what they're talking about, especially on like LinkedIn, where people just post nonsense. But people believe it. That's the problem.
Yeah.
People are creating videos of cats dancing on kitchen worktops or something stupid. But that's not a good use of this tool.
No.
This agency had built a 3,000 step automation, so it had 3,000 individual actions in it.
Wow.
It took my laptop about 5 minutes to load it, just because it was so massive. And we managed to simplify it down to 30. We have this automation that as soon as the meeting's done, the meeting notes goes to ChatGPT and say, hey, can you create an email from this? It will tag the person whose meeting it was to say, hey, Matt, the meeting you just had, here's the suggested follow-up email, and these are your tasks.
Wow.
Technology is changing
I know.
at a really fast rate.
I know I didn't have to hire that executive assistant because I just built one.
Today's episode is brought to you in association with Affinia, the accountancy and tax advisory firm helping businesses and individuals make better financial decisions with confidence. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the conversation. Hello and welcome to this episode of UK Direct to Business podcast. And this session, Rob and I are joined by Matt Freestone. Hello, Matt.
Hello.
Hey, Matt.
Matt is MD of Unmatched, a CRM and data business based in Bury St Edmunds in Suffolk.
Yep.
And we're going to be talking about all sorts of things to do with CRM and how that can help with improving efficiencies, business development, keeping records, all that sort of thing.
Keeping it all safe, yeah.
So hello, Matt.
Hello. Hello. Lovely to meet you guys.
So let's go back to basics and talk about the young Matt.
Wow, young Matt. Well, went to Portsmouth University, did a history degree, wanted to be a teacher.
Is that what you wanted to do when you were growing up?
Yeah, I wanted to be a teacher and then actually spent time with kids and then decided absolutely not. But no, I was going to teach a history degree. I did pirate history at Portsmouth.
Pirate history?
Yeah, that was an interesting module. Yeah, there's some really good stuff there. And then my dissertation was on an actual rebellion about 10 miles away from here where they marched on Norwich, which is pretty cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, so that was like 20-year-old me, I guess. And then since then...
I never knew that, pirates marched on...
No, not that. I've mixed those up, I think. Two different modules. But but that would be incredible.
That would be, that would be a great bit.
Pirates
They raised the Jolly Roger from the castle man.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like that. No, it was a dispute about fences, of all things. So,
really?
Yeah, it sounds very boring. It was actually quite interesting.
So what got you interested in history? Was it a teacher?
Just a good teacher? Yeah, I think good at maths and English and stuff like that. But history was just, I was just really interested in. There's a great teacher at the college that I went to, which was SOAM, and she got me interested in it. I was like, I don't know what I want to do. Who knows what they want to do at that age? I don't know.
Yeah.
And I just decided to rock with that, and then somehow ended up being in marketing for 10 years. And I don't know, that was a bit of a pivot really. But
so talk to us about that move into that then.
Yeah, that was an odd one. I was after uni, I did the whole discover yourself, find yourself abroad, go to Thailand, that type of stuff,
good.
that kids do, which was good fun. And then I'm really into skiing, so I went and did a ski season in Courchevel for 6 months, and I was talking, obviously you meet lots of people over there of all different sort of walks of life, multi-millionaires through to someone who's saved up all year to be there, which is, you hear of lots of different careers and stuff, and, everything from being propositioned to work on an oil rig. That was an interesting one. That was swiftly declined. And then, just ended up saying to my dad, like he ran his own business as well.
Right.
Yeah, I'm doing like fixings and screws and all that type of stuff.
Okay.
And then, so I said, can I just come and do some marketing, some website stuff for you? Because I was a bit of a geek, I still am. But he was like, yeah, sounds good. And then I was like, actually, this is really fun. And then decided to apply for a marketing exec job in insurance, actually.
Oh, really? Okay.
So, yeah. And that was kind of the pivot, really. And then just was in cybersecurity, which I know we might touch on today. And then, kind of ended up transitioning through video games and, esports, and then ended up in health tech, and a bit of a strange kind of journey, really, to be honest with you. So
when you got into the marketing, was it from then that was it self-taught, these other skills?
Yeah, I think so. Like my first marketing person, I guess, who took a bit of a, what's the right phrase here, but a bit of a bet on me, because I had no experience. Like she could have put two and two together and realised my dad gave me a free job, right? But still talk to her kind of every few years now, nowadays, and at that business, it was very much design based. So which I've never really done. It was, hey, create some banners for local websites and all that type of stuff, because they were like a franchise style insurance company. And after that, I was, it might be quite good to do some email marketing, because email was massive and or still is. And then just ended up transitioning and dancing around the kind of the tech sides of marketing, and then all those jobs after that kind of all got more and more technical the further it went on, and just ended up getting geekier as it went on, and ended up making a career out of it. But I do enjoy that creative side of marketing still. I think that's a bit lost these days with, AI making videos and all this kind of stuff. But, I do think that, I've gone off on a bit of a tangent, but that's how I went into it.
That's all right.
Honestly, it's really important, because I think this is the thing that AI probably has a bit of difficulty with. It's the common sense aspect of it, and also this creativity bit. So, for me, I'm thinking, you say you like the creativity. Was that the creativity around the strategy and the planning, or was it the creativity around the design and the look?
Yeah, I've always been someone who likes the look and feel of stuff, but I've never been actually able to be putting pen to paper, if that makes sense.
Right.
Like, you can know what you want, but it's really frustrating when you can't actually do it. Yeah. And I think, so I've always been good at spinning plates. So all of the kind of marketing manager roles, I've never been doing the design, but more the, creative thinking. It's, instead of, hey, let's send a load of stuff in the post, why don't we get a branded ice cream van and park it outside their office? Like, that's more of the type of like guerrilla marketing that I would like to do. But I'm in literally the opposite business that I own now of doing that. However, I would love to kind of do
guerrilla marketing. I haven't heard that term for a while.
It's kind of like, it's, just doing that stuff that just doesn't, but it is, I think, becoming more popular again. There's a load of London agencies kind of doing that again, because everyone's getting so bored of the digital ads and, AI videos and all this other stuff that's just populating your feed.
It's time to get those Red Bull cars back.
Yeah, because that's obviously my background as a qualified marketer, but I'm assuming that the guerrilla marketing is the thing where you suddenly get people dancing on
Flash
Liverpool Street
mobs,
Station.
that type of stuff. Yeah, I'd love to do that. I've never been able to do that. I think the kind of the craziest thing that I managed to do in like a kind of more marketing career before going down this kind of CRM data kind of area, which I'm in now, was I worked at a video games company in Cambridge, and we hired out 2 massive Airbnbs for a week. And then, so 2 massive Airbnbs, we put 10 influencers in one of them and 10 influencers in the other, and made them do like ice bucket challenges and all that type of stuff. And that was part of this marketing campaign for this event. And miss doing that type of stuff, to be honest. But, who gives a 26-year-old a £2.5 million marketing budget? I don't know. But that was what I was working with.
You'd probably be really good behind the scenes on Big Brother or something, would you?
Pranking people. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we have a bit of a prank theme going on in our office with a Polaroid jumping out from behind corners and stuff. So there's some great Polaroids on our office walls. I have to show you next time. But anything like that is good for me.
It actually sounds like you've become more strategic.
I think so. Like,
there's a sort of trajectory here, isn't there, to where you are now?
Yeah, I think it's difficult, isn't it, to kind of define the strategy that you want to follow. Like, it's so easy these days to flip-flop around between different tactics, but actually thinking about what direction do I want to go in and how do I get there is a different skill set entirely that I think, anyone can create anything these days with the tools that we have available, but actually thinking I want to get here, whether that's doubling headcount or, meet a revenue goal or something like that. But, making the steps to get there and then executing on those is something that people just can't do. Yeah. There's not many people with that skill set anymore. They're very much traditional marketers, which makes me a bit sad when you see people of who are in their kind of 40s, 50s and 60s who have got all those really great skills.
Yes.
And then, these businesses and bigger companies are going, oh no, the CEO's seen this thing on AI and they only want a 19-year-old to execute on it, but they can't actually follow a strategy. So, we need a bit of a mixture there. So I think it's a bit of a funny old world in that respect.
I think though that in my experience, and I've had over 30 years of it. I mean, I've specialised in PR, which is all around managing reputation and things like that. But for me, when there's loads of noise going on, which you find in quite a pressurised environment, when clients want things and they want things now, and can you turn this around, can you do this? That there's always been this going back to basics where you've shut out the noise and you said, okay, what we need to ascertain here, and what everybody needs to ascertain when they're developing their business, is where do they want to be? They need to know where they are now, and then they need to know what's in that marketing toolbox that can move them, the tactics that they can use to get them to that.
Exactly.
And that's where the plan comes, the overall strategy. And I think a lot of people forget that because they just want to get to the end game,
it's the
and
latest
they
thing,
don't want to do all this.
All the hard work.
Well, where are we now, and how do we stand? What's our reputation like? They think, honestly, I could be quite rude in describing it, but they've got probably a rubbish reputation, and what they're trying to do is get you to make it look fantastic when actually you've got to probably
do the work.
go right back to basics and start
Not
again.
just paint over the cracks.
Yeah, exactly. It's things like, we've been working on, hey, let's try and get our revenue to 750K or $1 million this year. And okay, how do we do that? And of course, as a business owner, you go, you know what, I want to, let's go win 20 new clients, right? But actually, if you look at the 40 existing clients that we have, if we uplift them 20% each, then we'd smash that anyway. We don't even need any new clients. So I think that is that type of thinking that I think, that's why you need that base of good data, not just a spreadsheet kind of hanging around with your customers on it. All your conversations tracked on a notepad is not the way of kind of driving that, because you have no data to work on. And if you do want to use AI to supplement your kind of own brain, then it's not got anything to read. What are you going to give it? Like, you need that base and foundation, which I think is what I'm trying to build towards, and what our clients are trying to build towards.
So where so you were working in insurance, you're doing the marketing. Did you then, what's the next step to start your own business? And was that how did you get into CRM?
Yeah, it was a bit of an accident, to be honest. When I moved into working for a company called MJOG, which is based out of near Ely. Right. And it was a software company that sold software to GPs, so doctors' surgeries and stuff. And I joined in March 2020, which was a bit of a fun time to join healthcare. And we had 60% of the market share on GPs.
Right.
So there's 6,500 GP practices roughly in the UK, something along those lines. And we had about 4,000 practices under our kind of management. Right. But they had a sales CRM, a really old one called ACT, which I've only encountered a couple of times since starting my own business, thank God. And they had a marketing system called .digital, which is still used today. There's a few kind of big organizations still using that. And I was sat in the middle of it going, sales want me to do this, marketing want me to do, I was the marketing, I want to do that. How do I communicate? And obviously with the kind of pandemic and stuff like that, we needed to communicate with GPs really quickly, and it was a pain in the bum, to be honest with you, because I was extracting data from here. Salespeople, I just had this conversation with this person, don't email them. And I was like, I can't do this 4,000 times. I'm going to trip over.
Take 3 out.
It would, exactly. It'd just be an absolute nightmare. So anyway, I went on a hunt for a CRM system because I just can't work with these tools. And before that, I just worked with whatever tool the business had, but I didn't really have a choice because I was always. So you go.
Tell me what a CRM is. Because, how did you know
land.
It was a CRM that you needed.
Well, I think I wasn't actually searching CRM when I was looking for that. I was like, I need a marketing email tool, right? And but I knew that I was like, where does this data live to the sales team? Like, it lives in our ACT system. I was like, okay, what is that? Did a bit of Google. I was like, CRM. So customer relationship management is what that stands for. So the kind of the big players are Salesforce, HubSpot, Pipedrive. There's a load of smaller ones like, Capsule, and Sage has their own one as well.
Isn't Halo, who's based in Stowmarket,
yes, indeed. Yeah,
they're quite a big player now.
They are a big player. Yeah, they've moved from kind of the PSA stuff and all of their kind of enterprise like management, resource management stuff into CRM now. So I think they use their own CRM product internally. I spoke to who's the chap's name that was the guy that runs that?
Paul Hamilton.
Paul Hamilton. Yes. I straight in my
podcast with him. He's done one of our events.
I spoke to him actually when they hosted something for the Suffolk Chamber about a year ago. And, we were saying actually common skill set and maybe we should kind of do some work. But anyway, so Halo, a nice local CRM and not one of these big American companies and, dodging tax in Dublin, for example. That's another topic entirely. But I was searching for a tool like that. I was just like, I'm going to use anything. Give me whatever I can. And little did I know the CEO of that company was in the process of selling it and would have signed off anything because he had already sold it. And any of the expenses that I incurred were not his problem anymore. So I said, hey, can I have HubSpot? Because I like the look of it. It does what I want. And he said, yeah, absolutely. not knowing that he was sold the business. And all of a sudden, a Swedish private equity company was saying to me, "What are you doing with this CRM?" I was like, "Christ, I don't know." So it was, like I said, a massive accident.
Yeah.
But after about a year and a half, 2 years of kind of going through that acquisition and et cetera, and, joining the London team and going through all that kind of noise that happens when a business gets acquired, and surviving it, which was good. They were actually really good at, for that, to be fair. Someone said, "Mate, you should probably do this yourself. You're quite good at this." I thought, "Okay, fine." And I set the business up the next week and then paid the money.
That was quick.
Yeah, I know. I was literally like, someone just said to me, like, it was actually another HubSpot partner, a guy called Lee, who I still talk to occasionally. He said, "Matt, like, you'd be quite good at just running your own business on this." Like, and he was talking about, he's just bought his own. He was, I think, bragging a little bit here, but just bought a new 911. I thought, I'd like a 911. And so I set my own business up, and I still haven't got one of those, by the way, but one day maybe. Yeah. And we were very small at the start, just me. And I was working, kind of moonlighting almost. And it was all remote working as well. So there was a little bit of, flexible working, should we call it. And in the kind of the August, I said to my wife, I was like, I need to do this on my own. And she was like, "Yep," really supportive and a bit nervous, obviously. And then, I quit and hired the same month because we just won a big contract. And that first customer that we ever got in January of 2022 is still with us today, which is great. So we still work with them. So my colleague Meave had a client call with them this afternoon, just as I was leaving the office to drive here. So a bit of like I said, an accident, but a happy one.
Yeah,
at that. So
Would you describe yourself as impulsive?
Yes. Oh, massively.
Yeah. I mean, anybody can say, "Well, why don't you start a business, Rob?" Oh, okay. Yeah, right. Next week you start it.
Yeah. I'm constantly evaluating. Oh, there's a new idea I've got. Let's do that, and then I'll buy the domain name for it, the web URL, and then my wife's like, what's this like on the joint account? Because I didn't have the company card to hand, and she was like, 50 quid going to GoDaddy or something. I was like, I bought a new website. And then she was like, why? I was like, I had a business idea, but it's not going to work now. And the short answer is yes, absolutely.
So I take it the wife isn't at all impulsive.
No, she's very risk averse, which is actually, to be fair, what I need. But we've been quite been a good. She's going to be in a good team. She's a director of Unmatched as well, but she's a mum to our new son, so which is great. So she's not working at the moment, but she's very much a sounding board for me. But I'm quite impulsive. My business coach, I work with Peter, and
that's Peter Basford.
Peter Basford, yes, absolutely. So I worked with him from kind of like month 6 of the business starting, and we just kind of keep a regular chat going, really, just because he understands the journey. So, there's different people from different angles, and I'm always debating, am I being too cautious, or am I being too impulsive? And you have to get that middle ground, don't you, in business? Because if you're too cautious and you're sat on 200 grand of cash in the bank versus no cash in the bank, but being impulsive and spending money and, no plan for it, or not being strategic, then, I'm somewhere in the middle, not with 200 grand in the bank, unfortunately, but
one day.
What?
Well, congratulations on becoming a dad.
Yes,
so how recent was that?
November.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
okay,
so it's been a bit of a challenge the last few months, but it's been good. It's been really good. Yeah, I've enjoyed it much more than I thought I would. So I kind of had to not be convinced into it, but my wife was like,
it's daunting,
"This might be time."
It?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I've been putting it off, and we got a dog first, obviously, to try and put it off for a little bit, and then the business is a bit too young for this. I can't step away, and finally that's the case. And my team managed to give me close to 6 or 8 weeks of paternity leave where I didn't do much, which was very nice. Yeah, and stayed off until the new year. So
So talk about Diamond HubSpot. Is that a make or a brand?
So the HubSpot partner program, which we're part of, and we've been a partner since 2022. So it is a buy-in program, right? And the tiers are based on how much HubSpot you sell. So we're basically quite good at selling HubSpot. However, like, we are Diamond by choice. Like, most partners want to get to the elite stage, which is like you basically become an outsourced, sales department for HubSpot, which is not really what we want to do. No. So we're very comfortable in that kind of Diamond status. There's about 40 of us in the UK that are that tier and above. There's about 900 partners in the UK along that line. So, there's lots of HubSpot customers worldwide, about 300 and something thousand now. So nowhere near the size of Salesforce in terms of customer base, but certainly a good grounded like the SME business, which is like, obviously who this podcast targets, but also like our ideal fit is anyone less than 500 employees, really, apart from a couple of clients which we have that are much larger than that. But
that always makes me laugh because you call it an SME. 500 people
massive,
is a
isn't
lot
it?
of people.
I would call that quite large.
Yeah, same. Yeah, so
But,
HubSpot labels that mid-market,
right,
from up to 500, and small business is up to 50, which I find,
Again.
I'm sitting there thinking I'm offended. But we're a team of 7 currently hiring for 2 more, and we class as a micro business technically. It doesn't feel like that to me. Not on a Friday night when you're stressing about invoicing and all that type of stuff. But so the partner program is technically how much you sell, but by selling lots, it almost gives you that qualification that if you're selling lots, you must be quite good at it. So there is kind of a correlation, but I won't speak too ill of other partners, but we have seen some people on the elite tier doing some really terrible work. Just the next, as the businesses get bigger, standards drop and that type of stuff. So we're very comfy in that diamond tier. We don't really have ambitions to be the elite tier. Just get good reviews where we can, and do all that. That's what we want to be. We're not.
So tell us about a CRM system and how it can change your business.
Yeah, I'll use an example of a company from Bury St Edmunds in Suffolk, which we are working with at the moment. I won't say their name or anything. They do sponsorships. So you can buy sponsorship for this business, and it's all stored on a Google Sheet currently. So every line in that, sponsorship is there. And then there's just a notes column of, hey, you had this conversation on this day with this person and whatever. And then there's another line. This spreadsheet is over 400 lines deep, right? And that's quite small compared to what some businesses are working with. So there's no organization. You can't see, okay, how much business have we got coming in August? Whereas I can look on my phone and go, I know I've got 30 grand's worth of business coming in August based on the fact that my pipeline has 100 grand in it. And therefore my close rate, so the rate that I'm going to win is 30%, therefore I have 30 grand coming in on average. Obviously it's all percentages and stuff. So having that data organized is the key bit. So for that company, we have the guy there, we'll call him Bill, as a contact. So every person has a contact record, and he works at this company. And then we now have this deal, which is the sales opportunity that we have to sell him, our services. And then if he inquires again in a year's time and says, actually want some more services, thank you very much, because you've done a good job, we'd raise a new deal, and then we have a full record of everything. So this system that we use is HubSpot, and we can plug in we use Gmail, but you can use Outlook and stuff like that as well, and plug it all in, and it keeps all our emails in one place. So instead of this infinite inbox that you have in Outlook or Gmail, which is not organized at all unless you've got some elaborate folder system, which a lot of people do, I can just go into, Sue, you've got a record in our HubSpot. I can click on your name and, see all the emails that we've exchanged, and, all of our, kind of communication history is all there. And essentially if you're just a one-man band, it's fine, right? You don't need a CRM. You just need a spreadsheet, let's be honest. If you get anywhere, say 5-10 employees, and you don't have a CRM, it's going to be a struggle. You're going to have salesperson ringing someone, and then the founder's like, oh no, I rang them yesterday, don't call them. Yeah. But there's no way to know because there's no shared history of what's going on. So that's the short of it, really. It's a system that combines, all that customer data into one place, and then you can action. Take action on it.
Can you automate that? So if I send an email from my Outlook, it will just go straight into the...
We do a lot of automation, to be honest. It's almost limitless of what you can do with that. So simple one would be going to an event. So if you were hosting an event, which we're going to in the next few months, so we get 50 people there, I would enroll those 50 attendees into a thank you follow-up. And if it's a sales event, say, you could have your first email say, thanks for coming to the event. It was great to see you, blah, blah, blah. And then 3-4 days later, you could say, it'd be great to actually talk to you about this opportunity, blah, 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 whatever that might be. And then provide like a meeting link to say, book a meeting in my calendar. They could do that via the system. And then when they book that meeting, all those emails that are chasing that person then stop, because obviously it would be embarrassing if you're still chasing them. So that can all be done. Yeah, we do some really elaborate automations. So, but also tidying up ones that people have made and then gone, oh my God, I don't even know how this works anymore, because they've added so many bells and whistles to it. So we actually do a lot of simplification and, undoing automation because sometimes automation is actually worse than none.
Yeah.
Because people are sat there going, my God, what's happening behind the scenes here? And we had a client last year who were working with another agency, again, won't name who they are, but this agency had built a 3,000 step automation. So it had 3,000 individual actions in it.
Wow.
And we managed to simplify it down to 30 because of the way they built it just wasn't ideal.
Yeah.
And then we've just simplified it down. And obviously the amount, it took my laptop, which is, very good laptop, about 5 minutes to load it, just because it was so massive. Anyway, we digress.
But we use it because we use a CRM system, but we're a much smaller business. But we're really using it for process.
Right.
Because if you can imagine, if we're producing magazines, we're organising events, we're doing podcasts, we have a business club, there's all these things going on. And what we do is we have a client file. And that client file is where it starts. So they get logged and then they're put on as what they are, whether a business club member, whether they sponsor an event, blah, 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 whether they appear in the magazine. But then when we go into magazine production, internally, we have a way of working. So members of the team, if, for instance, the article has been written, then that then clicks the person, Martina who writes, will click that button and that comes to me for me to check. So I then review it, I click it and send it to the project manager, and that project manager will then send it to the client to get it signed off. So it makes it a much more streamlined process from us moving things on the Excel spreadsheet, moving it into different folders, having it on. I think for
you can
me,
do so much with that. Yeah,
absolutely. And you just know anybody can look at it in the team and know exactly where it is. And they can also open up the client files and see all the email trail. Nice. The thing that I have the problem with is if I send an email to you, Matt, and it might be something about completely different, that goes on there.
Yeah, that can also be a pain.
So then your whole team can see that email.
Yeah. We've had some nightmares, not related to email, but we had actually at the last job I worked in, the payroll person had to send a spreadsheet of everyone's latest salaries after the pay reviews to basically an external payroll company.
Yep.
And they didn't have the email address of that external payroll company on the block list. So what happened? Spreadsheet of everyone's salaries ended up in HubSpot, and she rang me at about 8 p.m. on a Friday. And panicking. Yeah. She was like, can we get rid of this? Blah, blah, blah. Can you tell who's seen it and stuff? And actually, for my integrity, I didn't open it. I was very tempted. I said, if I was on a percentage scale, I said, where would I sit? And she was about 40th. I was like, bloody hell, I thought I was getting paid well, but someone's doing a lot better than me. But that sort of stuff can happen.
There's probably a bit of a downside. You can, but then it becomes difficult because you have to go in and do it. And it just, you just have to balance it out, don't you? You just have to understand. I don't know how you would. Yeah, I mean, we work with a lot of businesses where they've got like different permission sets almost, right? Where you can have like a senior leadership where they can view everything, whereas your intern, say, to go the other end of the scale, can only view the stuff that they're allowed to, and there's permissions in between. So, there's a lot of automation that happens behind the scenes on projects like this. We're doing a project at the moment for a company that does like raffle tickets and stuff like that for. They do raffle tickets for like winning your shopping and winning cash and all that type of stuff. So they give some of their profits to special educational needs, which is nice. We were arguing with ourselves about the ethics of this type of working with this sort of company, but it turns out they do some good from it as well. And they're getting about 1 million purchases a month coming into their system. So we've been organising all that data and obviously working out, what's the time between someone signing up and buying their first, making their first order. And, it turns out it's like 46 minutes or something like that. And then how can we get that down to 30 minutes? And if we got it down to 30 minutes, what does that result in revenue? So we worked out, and we're visiting them tomorrow actually, we worked out that if we improve their conversion rate by just 25%, so the amount of people who sign up who become a customer, we'd effectively build them about 25 grand a month in extra revenue by improving that conversion rate by just a quarter. So because they've got no email marketing happening right now, right? So someone signs up and it's a ghost town. No one gets any communications at all. It's absolutely wild. You think they're doing anywhere from 100 to 150 grand revenue a day, but there's no emails going out.
Yeah.
They think that's absolutely crazy. Like, you know, sign up, you know, play your first game, do this, do that. You know, you think it'd be and you know, businesses of all types do this type of stuff, right? We're working with a well-known accountancy firm in Norwich at the moment, and you know, when a client becomes a customer, let's make sure we send them a welcome to the family type of email, you know, that type of stuff. Here's your service. This is what you can expect. This is your team. It's all automated, right? But it feels personal because it's all coming from that person who they spoke to. There's pictures of them on there. And, you know, that's this type of stuff that a good CRM can help with. You can go from one extreme to the other. We have clients who spend £50 a month on HubSpot, and, you know, we're just finalizing a deal with a prospect at the moment. You know, that's like 30, 40 grand a month on software costs. So it really differs on what you can spend with these things.
I don't know whether it's a CRM, but one thing I had the other day, I was on as you do, late at night when I, you know, probably gone past midnight or whatever, and I'm on a website looking at something.
Yeah.
And it came back and said, go to bed. You should not be doing work now.
Oh, really? We're using like Claude or ChatGPT
I don't
or
know
something.
what it was, but it came back and said, what are you doing?
Sue, what are you playing at?
Yeah.
So that's healthy.
That is
obviously
good.
I was into them, but would that be a CRM that would do that?
Something along those lines. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what, you know, like I use Claude a lot, AI tool, and that will often say to me, like late at night, saying, Matt, pick this up tomorrow. I'm not sure if I like you. I'm not sure if I like you telling me that.
The quality of your questions is declining.
Yeah.
You now need to sleep.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Maybe it's detecting that my
I
work's
don't know
not as
whether
good
I liked
quality.
it very much. I felt as I was being told off, and I thought, I don't like the fact that someone is doing
Yeah, but that automation piece is like, you know, you might have some businesses have like a really long sales cycle. So, you know, the deal goes in today and it might take 9 months for it to actually close. What happens is that person, the salesperson goes, okay, yeah, I'll speak to you in a few months' time. Do they? No, they don't. They forget. And that just falls off a cliff. And so even just a simple task, like automated task that drops in a month before they're meant to be. So, hey, touch base with this person. It's the right time.
Now seems a good time to take a break and have a chat to our sponsors for the podcast, Affinia. I'm joined today by Nikki and Emily, who are going to talk to us about some of the services that Affinia provide.
Thanks very much for having us, Sue.
So Nikki, tell me a little bit about Affinia.
Affinia is the largest purpose-led, purpose-built accountancy firm in the UK. And what I mean by that is, at our core, we're really focused on helping our clients, colleagues and communities prosper. And we do that through a number of different services, so accountancy, tax advice, corporate finance and private client services as well.
So the last couple of years have seen incredible growth for Affinia, with you expanding your operations across the country. Explain a little bit more about that.
Yeah, of course. So we've got offices locally in Suffolk and Essex, but through that growth, we've seen expansion through London, the South East, and more recently into the Midlands, with a plan to continue to expand further nationally as well.
And do you provide all the services at all your offices, or are there particular offices that you need to go to for specialised services?
So one of the key things about the way that we grow is that we are fully integrated. So it means that anybody in any office can access that specialism. So there's lots of specialisms across Affinia. So for example, we have property tax in one team, we have somebody that's an expert in education or medical in a different office. But actually we can service clients in any of those areas throughout the UK, because that member of the team can help and support anybody in any of those offices.
So Nikki, as we're a business podcast, tell me specifically how you can help business owners.
Yeah, of course. So we do your day-to-day, everyday accounting, which we can help you with, but we also have an advisory side to our business. So we help with longer-term strategic planning and really hope to give you that proactive advice and add real value in your day-to-day challenges as a business owner.
And Emily, how can people get in touch with Affinia if they want to speak to you?
So the best way to get in contact with us is via our website, which is affinia.co.uk, which is AFFINIA. Or you could contact us or connect with us on LinkedIn, where we share quite a lot of information about how we support our clients, our culture and our local communities.
That's excellent. Now let's get back to the episode. I think from experience, the thing that I found really difficult, Matt, with the CRM is to work in the CRM.
Oh, yeah, that's a pain.
Because I'm just so used to just sending an email on my phone or putting it on my laptop and doing it. But what you have to do to get that email trail up and to understand what the conversation or someone else has spoken, you've got to be in the CRM
Yeah, most
system.
of our clients will have like 2 monitors usually. Some of them will use Outlook or Gmail or whatever, and HubSpot at the same time. Some people just use their phone, right? Because the apps these days are so good. Or, again, going back to AI tools like, Claude or ChatGPT plugs into all your modern CRMs these days. So, I could sometimes I'm literally, this is a bit sad, but I'll be in bed and I'll be like, oh, I haven't updated this deal. We had a good conversation with this today, and I'll say to it, or type, because I don't want to wake my wife up.
Or you say to your wife, the baby's crying.
Or exactly. I have just got to go and do this. But
the CRM.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm typing to Claude and say, hey, can you have a look at my meetings from today? Have a look at the meeting notes, because we store all that in HubSpot as well. And can you update the deals with the latest values? Like, because something's changed, and it'll go, hey, these are the deals, and it will actually do the updates for you. So, recently Salesforce announced like what they call a headless CRM, which sounds a bit weird, but it basically means there's no user interface. It's just you chat to it. It's a bit weird, right? Like, I like having a user interface where I can click around and see stuff, where they've announced this version where you just talk to it. I'm not sure if I like that, but that's effectively what I was doing with Claude is, hey, can you update my deals? Anything that's meant to have closed last week, can you make it close this Friday? Make all those little changes, which would have taken you as a human 10, 15 minutes of admin of clicking around, and you just send a message, or even a voice note these days, right? To say, hey, can you do this? And it does it, which is, sometimes takes the fun out of it a little bit, but who wants to be sat there updating a CRM? No one.
How do you feel about this? Because
I think it's just amazing. That's how I feel. Because we have a base broker system that most brokers use, a system called Actress. It's very old school. You might have
heard of it. Yeah, absolutely.
When you send an email, you then have to make sure you load it in right.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, so I can get the page open and kind of do this, that, and the other, or wait to the end of the day and I look at my sent mail and I'm like, right, okay, I'll just load them all up.
Such pointless admin, isn't it?
My God, what a waste of time. I love it. I mean, I just think of my entire career writing minutes to meetings.
Yep.
Don't need to do that anymore. I mean, I think the output from AI on the minutes is always like, that's not really what we meant. And I change it, but my God, the time saved.
Gets you off to a good start, doesn't it? Yeah. I mean,
I love it. Absolutely
we have 2 note takers, one called Fathom and the HubSpot one, and we've been comparing them lately. And, they're both pretty similar, to be honest. But, the kind of the automations behind the scenes is what makes a difference, because we're a small team, we're only 7 people, and we know we're often like in one meeting, in the next, and jumping between. We have this automation that as soon as the meeting's done, the meeting notes get sent through, I think it's ChatGPT's API or something like that. And an API is essentially the technical behind the scenes of how systems talk to each other. But that transcript goes to ChatGPT, and I say, there's a baked-in prompt, which is like an instruction to say, hey, can you create an email from this? And we then post that suggested email and the suggested tasks to our Slack channel, which is like a Microsoft Teams. Yeah. And it will tag the person whose meeting it was to say, hey, Matt, hey, Adam, whatever, the meeting you just had, here's the suggested follow-up email, and these are your tasks.
Wow.
And it just does that for every meeting we're in.
That's incredible.
And, that happening behind the scenes. And there's a few other ones that we've got internally that have really helped, like, especially me as a founder, you're just busy, you want to do what, you just want to spend more time with family or growing revenue. You don't want to spend time replying to emails. We've got this new thing. I love a new thing, as I said, impulsive builder of stuff, but I call it a kind of digital executive assistant, where 3 times a day it checks my emails, prioritizes them into like super urgent, need to reply to now, simple ones, which actually then drafts the reply to for me. Hey, are you available at 2:00 tomorrow? Yes. So it checks my calendar, writes the email, say, yep, I'm free. And then it will basically just be ready for me to press a button. Wow. And that runs 3 times a day. And at the end of the day, it gives me a daily wrap up of what, what's happened today, basically. So basically what an executive assistant would do.
What software is that?
That's using Claude.
That's Claude. Okay.
Yeah. The co-work functionality of that, which is, it sits on your computer, and then you have to give it quite a lot of access. Again, security of all this stuff is pretty, we have our zero accounting platform, HubSpot, all of this plugged into Claude. Do you think sometimes like, am I giving this thing too much access? If they doubled the price of it today, I'd just be like, okay, fine. Because it's that valuable, right? Yeah. We probably spend £600 a month, if not more, on AI. Yeah. And if they said, hey, we're going to double
Isn't that the fear at the moment?
Yeah, I know. It's like they've
Everyone's
got us in
talking
a
about that.
golden handcuffs almost, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of how I feel about it.
But the thing is, you've said that this AI is levelling the playing field for small businesses, isn't it?
It is. It's good it's good in some ways, right?
Yeah.
But then absolutely awful in others, because in our industry, I've spent 6 years learning HubSpot inside and out, right? There's not a bit of it I don't know, right? I put myself up on that pedestal, but there'll be some newbies that are coming into the industry and are maybe a bit vocal, and that's fine, right? Find your kind of voice in that. But because you can just ask Claude or HubSpot's own AI system to do anything, there's a lot of like what I call like overnight gurus. So they haven't had to spend 6 years learning the trade, right? Like I'm sure there's insurance bits and PR bits that just, an AI, technically someone could sound like they know what they're talking about, especially on like LinkedIn where people just post nonsense. Like, but people believe it. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And then they generate these AI videos and all this other stuff. And, I think the creative side of AI, like the videos, the generated pictures, all that type of stuff just needs to stop, right? That just needs to stay human in my mind. People are using it for the wrong thing. You should be using it to dive through years worth of Outlook data or, that type of thing, rather than, and all the stuff you were saying, like, hey, can we put these documents and emails in these folders and all that kind of pointless stuff? That's what we should be using it for. But people are creating, whatever videos of cats dancing on kitchen worktops or something stupid. Like, but that's not a good use of this tool.
No.
Right. So I'm saying, hey, let's regulate this thing straight away, but it's just not a good use of resources, is it? Like I think business.
How do you, we talk about cybersecurity and things like that, but from a GDPR perspective,
Yes, tough one.
because you've got data.
Of course, wherever you use
We've
it.
got data.
Yep.
And so what we've tried to do is say, well, actually, we've got data, which is our mailing list for the magazines, and they get posted out. And what we do is we try to keep that data as general as possible.
Yeah. I know what you're saying.
So business address, business title, maybe business email.
You have a good reason for every data point, right?
Yeah. And there's nothing else, because we get people ask us, well, what industries do these people work in? How many employees? Well, we haven't got that data.
Yeah, of course.
We don't need that data for what we do.
Not for what you're doing. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I don't feel it relevant, because from a GDPR perspective, I don't want that. But how do you walk this tightrope, which is around keeping that data secure for the client?
Yeah.
Because if they get hacked, if you get hacked,
if we get hacked, absolutely. Like, so first of all, obviously we have some great insurances in place, right? Very, very relevant to have. I think we have like a £10 million or something silly, like cyber liability, because it's just what we do. We deal with massive amounts of data. On the AI security side of things, like we do have kind of baked into our terms and conditions now that we will use AI to service the customer, right? If we are going to do something that I would suggest, and what you suggested there was potentially a bit on the risky side, we will advise. We'll say, hey, we're going to do this. Are you comfortable with it? It's actually in our terms that we can just do what we want, but it's not best practice, is it? I think I'd want to be told first if my data was being run through an AI system. So we use AI for a lot of like formatting and checking for duplicates where, you might have Sue.Wilcock versus Sue Wilcock on an email address. And sometimes, if you did an exact duplicate, try and check on Excel, it wouldn't pick that up. AI picks that up in a split second, right? So it's tough one, right? So on our side, we're working through our cyber essentials and cyber essentials plus and stuff at the moment, and we have ambitions to be, ISO accredited and all that type of stuff eventually. We're still quite young, but every client has their own folder. It's all kind of only the people who need access from my team have access. Any data that's sent to us is uploaded into their HubSpot account, which obviously HubSpot has incredible security measures like any of these big CRMs do. And then as soon as it's gone from our machines into their environment, it's then removed from our machines, right? So trying to minimize our risk at all times. The CRM system, HubSpot, and also Salesforce again, all those type of tools, they do have individual settings on AI usage now. So we will advise clients on, do you want to give people HubSpot's AI access to this or that? And you can split it down, because there's a difference, isn't there, between my email address and my name and all that type of stuff, which can be found on LinkedIn or somewhere anyway, versus all of my email data, all the files that I send you. There's a different, you know, I'm happy for them to use it for some bits, but not others. So I think you just have to, there's a lot of
When you talk about Claude and things like that,
yeah.
is it because lots of people use it for free? They use the free stuff, and obviously
that's the dangerous.
That's the dangerous,
worrying,
isn't it?
yeah, absolutely,
So I'm assuming that you use stuff, but you pay for it.
Oh, absolutely,
and
yeah.
that gives you lots more levels of protection.
Yeah, exactly. We use a team plan of Claude, which essentially gives us all of the kind of the enterprise level security, but without the kind of all the customizability of the enterprise stuff. So it's all, I don't know the exact security credentials behind the scenes, but it's all very much like you have to log in via our, you know, two-factor authentication to get in, all that type of stuff. And on the top tiers, which you see like schools and governments and stuff like that using, you can kind of monitor what your employees are sending it. Okay. I have no interest in doing that, but you know, you can. So I think it's a bit of an emerging space. You know, when I was speaking to our solicitor about putting these in our terms of business and stuff, it was very much a new, don't know how, not know how to write it, but how do you want it worded?
It's so new, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really new. And you know,
they're responsible themselves as a customer, aren't they, for their own data? So it's not just you providing protection from in your system.
Yeah,
they've got to do it themselves.
Well, yeah, and no names, but there's some questionable data practices going on in the region. So you know, obviously, hopefully we can help with that at some point.
Yeah. No names.
Yeah, exactly. Never.
Yeah.
So I suppose that brings us to the last bit that you've talked about, which is building a specialist business in a crowded market.
It's
a bit what you mean by that.
It's a tough one because I think when I got advised on to, hey Matt, you'd be quite good at this. You do look in the landscape, don't you? You think, oh my God, there's already 700-800 people doing this. Like, how are we even going to make a mark? I think it's all about your network, right? It sounds a bit cliche, but I'd say probably 25% of our business comes from previous interactions, either with previous clients, and it kind of a bit of a merry-go-round almost, or with previous people we work with. So, two of my latest hires, Adam and Rachel, have both brought business with them. So their old employers actually went, hey, you know, what you were doing for us, can you actually come back and help us with that? And obviously great for me because we charge them out at a premium, and you know, all ends up well for us.
Pay for themselves.
Yeah, nice. But I think exactly, they are exactly. But it's I think reputation is massive.
I was going to say, it's absolutely, if you're going to position yourself, it's got to be about your values that make you different, isn't
exactly, because I think there's so many big players, and I think private equity as well, and I think that's happening in a lot of industries. You know, you see a lot of accountants at the moment being brought up by big private equity firms and stuff, especially in this region. And the same in the HubSpot space. There's been about 6 or 7 acquisitions that are quite high profile in our industry anyway, by private equity. You think,
or people like you are being bought by to consolidate.
Yeah, absolutely. And
that makes sense.
The thing that kind of grinds my gears in that area is HubSpot's Partner of the Year award goes to whoever sells the most HubSpot, funnily enough. Yeah. And of course, private equity firm just buys the 5 biggest sellers, and all of a sudden they're Partner of the Year.
Yeah,
that's basically buying reputation, cheating, right?
That's cheating.
So we're very much on the small scale. Probably take on like 1 or 2 clients a month, get good reviews for it. Yeah. Either keep them on as a retainer, which we do most of the time. So work with us on an ongoing basis, or we just say nice goodbyes, and it's a good review and on the way.
So we hear a lot about companies being bought by Chinese companies, for instance, because of their data.
Yes, well, that's true. Yeah.
So, is it your data, or is it HubSpot's data?
It's a good question. I think in this one, like when you put your data into any system like this, like you still own it. There's even settings in there that say, make my data invisible to HubSpot. So like even the HubSpot support, for example, if you get HubSpot support, for example, there's a problem or something like that. You can explicitly say, I do not want this employee accessing my account. So I feel quite comfortable with that, right? Yeah. It feels like it's mine, but it still doesn't change the fact that we run our whole business on HubSpot, as you'd expect as a HubSpot partner, right? Because you'd be a bit hypocritical if not. But our website's on HubSpot, right? Hosted on HubSpot. Right. Our customer service is on there. Everything's on there, right? Our phone calls, our email, everything's connected through.
Okay.
When HubSpot went down for half a day last month, very rare, I was sat there like twiddling my thumbs because I was like, I've only got access to Gmail, you know. And then the ironic thing is I want to send a communication out, like a mass communication to all my customers saying, hey, HubSpot's down right now. How do I usually do that? Via HubSpot.
Oh shit.
So actually, like having all your stuff in one place is can be good, because obviously the cost savings for us are massive because it's consolidated, it's all connected, the data's all one record, and you know, I don't have to go hunting for anything. However,
why did it go down? Do you?
It was that Cloudflare incident that took down.
Yes.
It took down the government website and all that type of stuff. It was massive.
But if that's a risk, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
So how do you build on that experience and mitigate that risk from happening again in the future? Do you put things in place, or?
To be honest, we haven't. I think it's very difficult
It's down to them, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very
not
difficult to mitigate against that.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah, I think a lot of our clients do take backups of all their data from HubSpot and from other platforms, and you can do that.
Okay.
But if you're delivering services on a platform, for my business, it's very vulnerable, right? I've always thought about that. It's vulnerable to one specific vendor. You know, a couple of April Fool's days ago, I was like, oh, we're going to become a Salesforce partner, but I didn't decide to go through with that. But you are right. It's your data, but having control of your data is great. But it's the same people are doing, like, you know, Excel or Google Sheets. You know, the amount of clients we speak to where, you know, oh, where's all your customer data? It's on a shared Excel somewhere, but there's 6 versions of it. Who knows which one's the right version? You know, anyone can add a column. Anyone could type data wherever they want. There's no validation. Yeah, a lot of businesses running like that. And surprisingly, a lot of 250, 300 plus person companies running like that with that sort of system in place. And it's actually a bit scary because, you know, you inquire and, you know, you don't know where it's going. It's just going into someone's inbox and lost forever. And don't want to be doom and gloom, but I have experienced that, you know. So we've seen all sides though. Like, you know, who you'd expect to be amazing aren't, and who you expect to, who come on a client call, oh, our stuff's really messy. We're really embarrassed to show you. Actually, are better than
quite good.
Yeah. So what do they say? Comparison's the thief of joy, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah. It's interesting space. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay, I think that I don't think I've got any other questions. It's been a really interesting
It
chat.
has actually. It's quite enlightening.
Time's gone.
It looks as though it sounds as though I'm not so much, but I'm sort of computing in my brain all the time and sort of trying to wrap things up.
It's a funny world though, isn't it? Like, I think everything's moved so fast lately, and I'm a bit, just trying to keep up's crazy.
Yeah.
I think, you know, what we were doing differently 2 weeks ago, you know, it's just, you know, changed, you know,
so
like,
fast,
exactly. Like,
You see, you said you're excited by this.
I am.
I actually feel slightly frightened by it. And I use an experience. So we have mailing lists, as we've just talked about. And our CRM system could take these mailing lists and we could then use them for our fulfillment when we produce magazines. But there's part of me that thinks, well, once I've actually put that into the CRM system and they have it, and I'm not running that master list here.
In your own safe
where
space.
I can take people off, I can adapt addresses, and I'm doing that everything on that
system,
CRM. If that CRM goes down, or if I discontinue the CRM,
that's another one,
where am I left with all my data?
We do find a lot of people export, like I said, like a massive backup, or, you know, have a something in the background that they still use secretly that they don't, you know, just because they feel safe with it.
Yeah.
But I think the same, you know, I think the same. You've
It
got
must
to
take a lot of storage though, a backup of that.
God, I don't want to think about it.
Yeah,
Like this
I know.
one client I was talking about that we're going to tomorrow with those 1 million orders a month, they're spending 10, 15 grand a month on kind of, you know, AWS, which is the Amazon Web Services, like data warehousing. That's just one customer. I think HubSpot and Salesforce have got millions and millions of customers. The data centers behind that are absolutely crazy. I think the volume we can't really comprehend, you know, but you are right. Do you trust that or not?
On a CRM system, can you delete data?
Yes. Yeah.
And then put new data on to replace it?
Of course. Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of, talk about GDPR earlier. There's one of the big things that businesses, and I know this because, you know, we've worked with the DPO Centre in Ipswich for a number of years, and, you know, respect those guys a lot. And they're always advising about, you know, what happens when someone says, hey, make a data subject access request. You think, shit, how do I do that? Right? Like I've got to somehow provide all this data about this one person. And actually, if you're operating on spreadsheets and Outlook and stuff, it's going to take you hours, if not days, to pull that data together about that individual. again, a good CRM system, Pipedrive, Salesforce, HubSpot, any of those.
It's an easy job, isn't it?
Just press one button.
Yeah.
Go, there you go. Thanks very much.
there's your
Or
data.
they could say, delete all my data. And you go, okay.
Okay.
And again, that's one. So there are trade-offs. So in one area, you think, oh, bloody hell, like that's not ideal. But the other area, it's, that actually makes my life easier. But relying on one platform, potentially not a good thing. But we're all in. And I think that's one of the things I've always said is like, do we want to go down XYZ route into offering support on other systems, right? Like a lot of great IT companies out there offer support on 10 different systems, right? We were just like, nope, going to do one system. And obviously, therefore, you become known for that one system and you can create good content around that system and all of that type of stuff. And it all adds up. I think that's the key bit. So
what's the future for Matt and Unmatched?
Yeah.
How are you going to grow? Is it just more clients, more data, or is it?
I did think about this.
Or is it merging with someone? Or
I have been looking at acquisitions, but not in the way that you typically think, oh, let's just go buy another HubSpot partner. I'm more on the side of let's go buy an accountancy firm or something like that, where the customers are complementary.
Yeah.
And, there's so much that we can do for their customers.
Yeah.
So there's a piece of that side. At the moment, we're hiring for 2 people. I'm thinking about a third person, which would take us to a team of me plus 10. Not sure. And it's a difficult one because you think, what's the point? Like, why am I growing at all costs? But I've always stopped against that. We have 6 months worth of expenses banked right now in the bank. So we're not flip-flopping around. We can actually make a plan and stick to it and push through. And, we're relaunching our website and all that type of stuff where it's, big strategic, positioning changes and things. But in terms of growth, it's a tough one because you get the little things, don't you? Like, oh, we have to get a new office because we're running out of space, and all those little bits. I'm like, I actually don't want to. Do I want to grow, or do we just want to kind of squeeze what we've got out of the existing team? And then you have to balance like well-being and culture and all that type of stuff. So,
but it's also that technology is changing
at
a really fast rate.
I know I didn't have to hire that executive assistant because I just built one.
Yeah,
that's scary, but so I'm not sure. To be honest, I do want to grow still. My ideal when I started out was like, let's build this to like 16, 20 people and then try and either move out of the business into a kind of chairman style role or sell it.
Yeah.
But I've always said to the team, I said, if I'm selling it, you're going to get some benefit from it. So, it's always been like that. So because we're hiring at the moment, 2 of my team are off on holiday next week and the week after. I said, we're going to pause hiring until you're back because I actually want you to have a say on everyone who's coming into the business. Because we're such a small team, you can't just hire 3 more people and just expect everyone to fit in, can you? So, but long story short, not sure.
Watch this space.
Watch this space. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it's been great to talk to you.
Yeah,
Thanks for your
likewise.
time.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah,
it's great to meet you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the UK Direct to Business podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, then visit our website, ukdirectormagazines.co.uk, where you can listen to more episodes as well as download our library of magazines, Suffolk Director, Norfolk Director and Essex Director. Don't forget to join our UK Director Business Club, where you can enjoy a whole host of benefits, including exclusive content such as unedited podcasts, free tickets to our events, and so much more. See you next time. Goodbye.